Hello, I'm Kevin Turf. I'm an ambassador with the Charter for Compassion, coming to you from New York City. I want to welcome you, and I'm excited to share this global launch of the new video called Invest in Compassionate Cities, Our Wish for the Next 10 Years. For those of you not familiar with the Charter for Compassion, the Charter is actually a document, a declaration that was formed back in 2008. When Karen Armstrong won the TED Talk Prize, and her wish was to create this charter. The basis of the charter was that every religion in the world shares one thing in common, and that's the golden rule: treat others as you wish to be treated. And so more than 40 religious scholars and interfaith leaders formed this 4-paragraph document, and millions of people have affirmed the charter, and you're invited to affirm the charter at charterforcompassion.org. One of the central programs and priorities for the organization is the Compassionate Cities program. And we have a new mission statement: to engage organizations and individuals in compassionate action across the world. And so this video is going to highlight 3 different cities and the great work that they're doing and how they each learn from each other, and this cross-learning, which we'd like to see more of if we can get your help. And so today we are joined by 2 of the 3 celebrity stars of this video, and we're really excited to have them. And first, we'd like to have them introduce themselves. First, let's go to Monterrey, Mexico.
How are you? I'm Cristina Gonzalez. I am the president and director of Worldwide Meeting of Human Values. I am the secretary of the board of Charter for Compassion, and I am glad to be here with you to this interview.
Great. And then just a little far north, but across the border, is Anne.
Hi, it's good to be with all of you. I'm Ann Homke. I'm the faith liaison for the city of San Antonio, and the Compassionate San Antonio falls within my purview here, as well as I've been a part of the grassroots effort. Was a precursor to Compassionate San Antonio. So just it's very exciting to be with all of you today.
Great, and you'll see very soon Anne has a fantastic soundbite in the end of the video that will really get your attention. The Compassionate Cities program, there are more than 430 cities across the world. One of our most active ones is in Karachi, Pakistan, Compassionate Pakistan. We have chapters in Australia, throughout Europe. Rotterdam is a very exciting city, and the many cities in North America. And it's our hope and our wish that we can have these cities working together to share best practices for what really works. Where is there suffering in a community? And then how can people work to solve those challenges? And so just to talk a little bit more about what each of Monterrey or the Nuevo León region, what they're doing, let's first like to ask Cristina to talk a little bit about Compassionate Nuevo León.
Thank you. Well, in our event, the Worldwide Meeting of Human Values, we have 5 years ago, we invited Charter for Compassion for the first time to come to our 7th edition, and there was a beautiful experience. We knew there were people working in different cities in all over the world. In Mexico, we're not included. So we decided to go into this project, and it's been beautiful since then. We've been working with, we started a campaign in Nuevo León, our state, for the first time, and we started working with universities, with schools. We also start working with ambassadors in media, and also with the interreligious council. So all the sectors started working with this campaign, talking about what was really a compassionate way to be, from the heart to work. And there were different social organizations that are working with us. And in a beautiful way, we had the Madrinas of San Pedro working, reconstructing, building houses in a very vulnerable communities. We have schools, little kids at schools working in different places also, talking about compassion and making exercises of compassion. So we are adding sectors, and now we are working also with business and compassionate business. So all the sectors of the community have been working hard. We have 16 cities in this state already working together, and it's been a different way to work from the heart and to do a lot of beautiful exercise with compassion.
Thank you. And in fact, you mentioned the Madrinas of San Pedro. You'll see them and the work they do and some of the recipients of their compassionate action coming up in the video just in a couple of minutes. And but let's go first to back to San Antonio, and tell us a little bit more about the types of programs and a little bit on the history of Compassion at San Antonio.
And so we've probably been at the work, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years. And after kind of looking at how other cities went about it, we decided to really work more of the grassroots efforts that were already here and those networks that had formed. And so there were lots of different networks that connected education and kind of gathering together a community to other organizations, say, that do a lot around, say, domestic violence, and organizations that work with neighborhood associations. So we spent a good 5 years working with those and meeting with those and talking about compassion and what that would mean in terms of domestic violence, in terms of the faith community working together. Long story short, on the very first day of the city council in 2017, the very first resolution that they signed was the charter for compassion, to be a compassionate city. And then it fell within, I mean, I was at work on a grassroots level, but I also just started serving in this position, a new position within the city as faith liaison. And so I kind of have it grassroots, but also the civic level as well. So it's really kind of an extraordinary situation. One of the parts of the resolution is about education. And so I think that's been a really important component for us, that within the community, from birth until death, that there are educational opportunities to learn about what does compassion mean. And literally in signing that charter and that resolution, in the signing, the mayor and I talked about, well, education is a key component because compassion can be learned. It's not a soft skill, it's a practice. There are exercises. Shouldn't the city leadership then play that lead? And so they did. And then in that first, mayor, staff, council persons, their staffs went through training, some training out of Atlanta. And they utilized then that training in terms of their decision and policy making. And I think I'm going to get a chance to talk a little bit about what's happening with our influx of migrants, but it's a perfect example of how that has played itself out. So just really proud to be a part of a city that really is embracing it to our governmental, and exciting to watch. I'm proud.
Today, we're excited to be celebrating what is arguably the greatest idea humanity has ever had.
I wish that you would help with the creation, launch, and propagation of a Charter for Compassion.
That wish was granted, sparking a global movement of compassionate action in a polarised world. Now, a decade later, the Charter for Compassion wants to share best practices from model compassionate cities to create lasting social change.
Many of our inner cities are in turmoil. People are looking for a solution, and compassion is the solution.
I think it's really important for the mission of compassionate cities to be spread across the world, particularly now because we know the turbulent times that we live in.
Cross-learning between compassionate cities like San Antonio, Monterey and Las Vegas has been a key to delivering remarkable results. One initiative from a group of godmothers in Compassionate City Monterey is rebuilding lives, one roof at a time.
So Las Vegas has its dark side, as any city does. Behind those images, there is a very compassionate heart.
Life on the street can be brutal, and so if you're always in survival mode, we offer a place of safety and a place of respite where people can come, be safe, decompress, and then start moving towards their next steps.
Really, when I think of our corridor of hope, I think of outstretched arms ready to embrace.
Across town, a volunteer-driven medical clinic heals the uninsured, while a food bank feeds the hungry.
I used to be part of that vulnerable population that we serve. I went without health care. I was homeless for a long time. Compassion heals. Compassion empowers. Compassion changes lives. I'm a direct result of that.
The city has also struck an innovative partnership between police and pastors to reduce violent crime.
After a violent event, say a homicide or a shooting, we will call our faith-based partners. They will come out and respond as a kind of a conduit to us to really preach no retaliation, provide aid and comfort to the family.
The first year that we started this model, we saw a 40% reduction in murders and a 56% reduction in shootings. Compassion is truly the key component to save lives, bring down gang violence, and the suffering that's in our inner city.
Y el intercambio de políticas públicas que nos hayan sido efectivos tanto allá como en nuestra ciudad, creo que es muy importante para poder fortalecer más este trabajo de Ciudades Compasivas.
Through the spread of Compassionate Cities initiatives, innovation blossoms and people flourish.
So it's a powerful way to unleash 5 things: inspiration, initiative, integration, innovation, and impact.
Compassion is the antidote to suffering, period. It's what allows people to have hope that there's a better day tomorrow.
Invertir en la compasión en este momento de la historia es invertir en la sanación del planeta.
In order to infuse and really expand compassion across our world or across our communities, we need more people to reach in their pockets and realize that it's going to have a ripple effect across the world and make it a better place.
The Charter for Compassion has a new wish for the next 10 years: to shine a light on compassionate cities whose measurable results inspire others around the world. You can help. Invest in compassion and cross-learning between communities.
If we aren't, as individuals, as organizations, as cities, as communities, investing in that for our future generations, we are so missing the mark. This is the best stuff that's happening on the planet.
Well said, and the best stuff happening on the planet. We agree, and we need we need people to support the Charter for Compassion and the work that we're doing on a local and a global level. But before we talk more about that, we'd like to just get a little bit more feedback. And when I went to Las Vegas to help record that video, we met with the mayor, we met with Gard Jameson, who's our treasurer of the Global Charter. He's also heads Compassionate Las Vegas. And they talked to us how their corridor of hope, where they help the homeless, is based in part on something that San Antonio is doing. So could you talk about that? And then also just the current crisis that you all are handling with the influx of migrants and doing it in a way that is all about compassion.
Well, there is a effort, it's more than an effort, but Haven for Hope here in town, which I also was very privileged to be a part of its formation as well. But a real collaborative effort where compassion is a part of the value system and how it was put together. But all the major nonprofits, the faith community, the city, county, all coming together and forming kind of a one-stop place that can help to serve the homeless instead of having to travel all over town to kind of piece things together, to come to one place and be able to work at job opportunities. In terms of what's happening currently with the migrant influx that we're experiencing, and because there's not federal or state funding that comes with that, another whole system has been engaged. And I'm just really proud of our city leadership in a time of something that's a very political hot button that have stepped forward and says, basically says, it doesn't make any difference which side you are in this hot button. There are people who are coming here. There are families who are coming here. They need shelter, they need food, they need a place to sleep. We need to welcome them. And I can barely talk about it because I'm just so proud of how our city has stepped forward. And I mean the city structure, but also the compassionate community and how they've stepped forward. But our mayor and our council and our city staff. Our city staff, I can't even begin to tell you what they've done, but they're all volunteering past their regular work hours, and on weekends it's a 24/7 thing. And it's been just miraculous to watch. So.
It really has. I've seen some of the videos of how just the faith-based communities and the city, everybody working together to come up with immediate solutions to problems you never thought you had.
Right.
But really to try to serve the basic needs of these people who are there temporarily. And it's really remarkable. So I encourage people to learn more about compassion at San Antonio. Well, let's go back to Monterrey. And Christina, could you tell us a little bit more about those remarkable madrinas, the godmothers of San Pedro? How did they get started on that remarkable impact? 1,682 homes, and this was not a government agency. How did they do that?
No, well, this group is a social organization and is working in alliance with the government, with business, and also finding more volunteers to work. They work home to home, rebuilding houses, taking care of the families' health also, and giving workshops in order to make their life better. So they've been working beautifully, alliance with the Charter for Compassion Nuevo León, and they continue growing and growing after we have been talking about compassion with all the groups and other NGOs. And we also have the same migration problems that Anna's are talking there. We also are working with interreligious groups and with volunteers to help them out. This is something that is working also very strong with our organization and with different groups from different parts of the state, even from the state.
And when it comes to working with cities, you and Anne, this is not the first time you've met each other. So can you talk about why you guys have been together, you've joined each other in the past, and the benefits of cities, compassionate cities working together.
We talk about, I'm glad you put it that way, but we talk about the only reason that we do is the benefits package. And the benefits package is working with people like Kevin and Christina. And I don't even remember what year it was, but Louisville, one of the leaders in terms of compassionate cities, Christina and I met each other there at their Festival of Faiths, I believe. And we met, I don't know how strong a connection, but we met and we talked. And then later down the road, coming back to the mayor saying, you know, we need to learn how to practice compassion on a larger scale. And so I can't even believe, was that just last year, Christina? Or 2 years? It was last year. Goodness, it seems like 10 years ago. But so quite a few compassionate cities came to San Antonio to learn that same training that our leadership was doing, and then to take that back into other compassionate cities. But then what it does, it just builds this wonderful relational network where we get to have friends and learn from each other. And we have another gathering coming, what we call Compassion in Action San Antonio Labs. So our short-term word is CASA Lab. So it's about homing compassion. But Christina and Marilyn, the executive director of the charter, are coming to, we haven't figured out all the details yet, but they're coming to address the San Antonians who are working on compassion here. So.
San Antonio and Monterrey are sister cities. Mm-hmm. They are working in different levels of economics and difference. And I met the mayor in San Antonio. I talked with the mayor here about sharing some samples of what we are doing as a compassionate city. And they are ready to do it. They would be ready to do it soon in October when we met around here. And I think it could be very interesting to leave the mayors talk with each other and find out what is working in a compassionate way and what is changing the heart or transforming the heart of the city from compassion.
Right. And I think, you know, that's the one thing we've seen, that, you know, there are more than 2 million cities and towns and villages across the world. And we have a few hundred who have signed on. So there's a lot more room for improvement. But what is unique among cities are the challenges that they face. So almost every city has challenges with homelessness, with poverty and hunger and conflict and crime and environment, and the list goes on and on. It's where is the suffering? And so, and these coalitions form. It's really remarkable to see that they're going to use the lens of compassion. How can we look at solving this problem in a way, working together and using the lens of compassion that they maybe have never done before? Mm-hmm. Christina, speaking of gatherings, would you tell us more about, well, first of all, we should mention anyone that is interested in finding out if your city is a compassionate city already, go to charterforcompassion.org and you'll see the communities tab. And so that is where you can find a list of participating cities. Some of those cities are remarkable and they have lots of volunteers. Some of them need a jump start to get to be as great as San Antonio and Monterrey. So check out that website. And then if you would like to start your own compassionate city and where you live, there's also instructions right there on the website, charterforcompassion.org. And if you really, really want to get trained and up to speed quickly, I suggest that you head to Monterrey in October. So tell us what's coming in October.
Well, this year, Charter for Compassion and the Worldwide Meeting on Human Values are making an alliance and are bringing to Monterrey models, best practices, dialogues that could answer the problems that we are facing right now in the world. We are having beautiful people coming to the event, more than 20 speakers. And we will join with Charter for Compassion some panels, some dialogues with very beautiful people, interreligious friends. are coming, and we will have theologists, people from NU, from UNESCO, and talking about education for values, education from compassion. And I think we will have a beautiful 3 days workshops and conferences when you all can come, and we will have the opportunity to have also the global board, Compassionate Global Board here, having the 10-year anniversary, and it would be a great experience to come to Monterrey in October.
Absolutely. So
we're just sharing the benefits package is all.
Of course.
Of course, all are welcome.
Yeah.
So it is on the 10th day of the 10th month of this year. You can't forget that. It's 10/10 is the 10th anniversary gala of the Charter for Compassion, going to be held at this beautiful, unique museum in Monterrey. And then on the 11th, 12th, 13th is when the panels began, the worldwide meeting of human values. How many people regularly attend your conference? And then also, if people want to register, what should they do?
Well, we will have around 6,000 people the 3 days, and we have a link, is ENCUENTRO de Valores.org, where you can find information, and we could then have a registration link also for the gala dinner and for the event.
Great, and that information will also be able to be linked from the charterforcompassion.org
Awesome.
website. And also, if in English, you can Google Worldwide Meeting on Human Values, and you can get there as well. So, well, I want to thank you all for joining us here on this brief journey into just a sample of some of the great work that's happening across the world for the Charter for Compassion. The Charter is inviting you to invest in compassion, because the world is so polarized. We have so many silos that we've got to break down so that we can all get along and work towards solving this problem of suffering on the planet. As our founder, Karen Armstrong from the UK, says, we must act, that our world is not sustainable. Humanity will have a crisis unless we become more compassionate. So we would invite you to join the Charter and to become a sustaining member of the Charter. There's a $1 a day club, $1 US per day, $30 a month, would make a tremendous difference. So if you'd be willing to sign on the charterforcompassion.org website, click on the donate button, and there you can sign up for either a one-time gift of any amount, or you can sign up for a sustaining membership, and we would be truly grateful, because there are more and more cities that are learning about this, and we need to build capacity to help educate and train these cities and link cities like Las Vegas, San Antonio, Monterrey, have cities in developed countries partner with developing countries in those cities. And we are confident that there is remarkable sharing that can happen and learning in both directions. So any final words from each of you?
I'm just grateful for what everyone is doing. We're all playing our part, and it's a beautiful thing to be living in this time.
Well, and we have the opportunity right now in this present moment to do something, and let's start doing it from the compassionate heart and from a compassionate way to live.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all of you, both of you, Christina and Ann, for joining me, and to everyone for watching. Go learn more at charterforcompassion.org.